Have you ever stopped in the silence of your own soul and asked yourself this one life-changing question: why am I carrying pain, lack, or limitation, when within me is the infinite mind that created worlds? Do you not realize that the same spirit that flung the stars into their courses dwells in you now, ready to heal, to restore, and to make all things new? Your subconscious mind, which is the treasury of divine law, holds the key to dissolve your suffering and to flood your life with peace, health, and prosperity. The Master said, "According to your faith be it unto you." Matthew 9:29. And I say unto you tonight, whisper the truth of God into your heart and watch the pain vanish like a shadow before the rising sun. Do not wait for tomorrow, for the hour of transformation is now. Open your heart, awaken your faith, and let us journey together into the secrets of the subconscious and the riches of divine supply. Before we begin, my friend, make sure you subscribe to this channel and press the like button so that more souls may awaken to the infinite treasures within. For as you give, so shall you receive. My beloved friend, listen carefully, for what I am about to tell you can change the entire course of your life. You were born not to suffer, not to live in want, not to be enslaved by fear, but to walk in the liberty of God's law and to partake of the riches of the infinite. The secret is not hidden from you, it is hidden within you. The great treasure house of the universe is the subconscious mind, your subconscious mind, and it responds faithfully, unerringly to the seed you plant within it. The pain you feel is not the truth of your being. It is but the reflection of old thoughts, old patterns, and false beliefs impressed upon your inner mind. Just as a garden will return weeds if left unattended, so the subconscious returns the harvest of what has been sown, whether consciously or unconsciously. But you are not bound by yesterday's sowing. You can plant anew. You can whisper a new word into your heart, and the subconscious, which is the creative law of your life, will bring it forth with mathematical precision. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. This ancient truth is not poetry. It is the science of mind. What you impress, you express. What you feel inwardly, you experience outwardly. If you dwell upon sickness, sickness is drawn to you. If you rehearse fear, fear governs your steps. But if you meditate upon harmony, wealth, and divine order, the subconscious will shape your world in the image of your faith. Consider the sun that rises each morning. It does not argue, it does not struggle, it simply shines. The darkness yields of itself. In the same way, you need not wrestle with your pain nor fight against lack. You need only impress upon your subconscious the radiant idea of health, the idea of abundance, the idea of peace. Whisper it into your heart with faith and expectancy, and the creative power within will make it flesh. Florence Scovel Shinn, that noble soul of truth, once declared, "Your word is your wand." She understood that every word charged with faith is a command to the subconscious, which obeys without question. Neville Goddard, too, affirmed that imagination is the workshop of God, that whatever you assume to be true, your subconscious accepts as fact, weaving it into the fabric of your reality. These are not idle fancies, but the laws of spirit confirmed through centuries of experience. Think of the farmer who places a seed into the soil. He does not dig it up each morning to see if it has sprouted. He knows that in the silence of the earth, the seed is breaking, expanding, pushing through until at last it appears in form. Your subconscious is the soil of Peer it, and your thoughts are the seed. Whisper into your heart, "I am whole, I am rich, I am free, I am at peace." Let it take root, and you will see the harvest in due season. But mark this well, it is not enough to repeat words without feeling. Mere lip service is like scattering dead seed upon barren ground. You must feel the truth of what you affirm. You must sense, even faintly, the reality of your desire fulfilled. This feeling of reality is the vital force, the living water that nourishes the seed of thought. When the subconscious feels, it acts, and when it acts, the world obeys. I have seen men and women, broken in health and empty in pocket, rise to radiant vitality and overflowing wealth simply because they learned this secret, that the subconscious mind is a faithful servant, and that their words, their mental images, their beliefs are commands to infinite intelligence. One man whispered into his heart each night, "Wealth flows to me freely, joyfully, endlessly." Within months, new opportunities opened, Debts were dissolved, and he moved into a life of ease. Another, bedridden with pain, repeated with feeling, God's river of life flows through me now, cleansing, purifying, and making me whole. In time, his body obeyed the law of belief, and he walked in perfect health. What changed these lives? Not chance, not fate, not accident, but the law of mind. The same law that governs the stars governs your destiny. The same power that set the universe in motion awaits your word. The subconscious does not know limitation. It only knows obedience. Speak to it in the language of faith, and it will perform miracles. Even Carl Jung, though moving in the realm of psychology, perceived this truth when he said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. He, too, glimpsed that the hidden mind is the scriptwriter of your destiny. But I tell you, you can rewrite that script. You can choose the role of victor instead of victim, of heir instead of beggar, of creator instead of captive. Yes. Therefore, my friend, begin now to take dominion over your thought. Do not surrender your mind to fear or resentment, for these are thieves that rob you of your inheritance. Instead, whisper the word of God into your heart. Peace, wealth, love, success. Say it gently, but say it with faith. The subconscious, like fertile soil, will yield according to the seed. Do not wonder how it will come. The how is the work of the infinite intelligence that governs your subconscious. Your part is to impress the idea, to feel it real, to give thanks in advance. The invisible law will bring to pass the visible form in ways you cannot always predict. Remember the words of the Master. The kingdom of God cometh not with observation, for behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:20-21. It is within, not outside, that the miracle begins. Perhaps you have carried pain for years, rehearsing it in thought, nursing it in memory. But I say unto you, do not identify with it. Do not make it your name or your dwelling. You are not the pain. You are the life of God expressing through form. You are not the lack. You are the abundance of heaven poured into visible channels. Withdraw your attention from the shadows and turn it to the light within. What you turn to, you become. What you behold in consciousness, you mold in experience. Imagine now that you are standing before a great treasury, vast and inexhaustible, filled with gold, health, joy, opportunity. This treasury is your subconscious. The key is your word, your belief, your mental image. Whisper the truth into your heart. Infinite riches are mine now. The river of God's wealth flows ceaselessly into my life. Do not strain, do not force, simply accept. The acceptance is the miracle. Napoleon Hill, who studied the secrets of wealth with Andrew Carnegie and the captains of industry, discovered the same law when he declared, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The subconscious is the workshop of achievement. It does not argue whether your thought is large or small, worthy or unworthy. It simply takes the impression and moves it into form. Therefore, dare to think greatly, dare to believe richly, dare to affirm lavishly, for your subconscious is infinite supply in miniature, and it delights to magnify the pattern you set before it. One woman I knew was trapped in bitterness after betrayal. Her body became sick, her finances dwindled, and she despaired of life. I taught her a simple practice, each night before sleep, to whisper into her heart, God's love fills me, God's peace heals me, God's abundance restores me. She felt little at first, but she persisted. Gradually the bitterness dissolved, her health revived, and new channels of wealth opened. What had happened? She had sown a new seed in her subconscious, and the old harvest withered away. This is the law. The subconscious is impersonal, creative, obedient. It knows only to reproduce what is planted. If you plant weeds of fear, weeds grow. If you plant roses of faith, roses blossom. You are the sower, you are the gardener, and your life is the garden of your mind. Do not despise small beginnings. A single word whispered in faith can overturn mountains of doubt. The subconscious magnifies every impression. That is why Jesus said, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove. Matthew 17:20. The mountain is your pain, your lack, your obstacle. The mustard seed is your whispered word of truth. Plant it, believe it, and the law will remove the mountain. Therefore, discipline your thought. Watch the words you speak to yourself in the silence of your heart. If you say, I cannot, the subconscious answers, very well, you cannot. If you say, I am able, it answers, it is done. If you say, I am poor, it shapes poverty. If you say, I am rich, it shapes wealth. The law is exact, impartial, unfailing. Choose this day what seed you will plant, for the harvest is sure. Do not resist evil, for resistance gives it life. Instead, affirm the good. If debt troubles you, affirm supply. If loneliness haunts you, affirm love. If sickness afflicts you, affirm health. You are not battling shadows, you are turning on the light. Darkness does not vanish by fighting it. It disappears by shining the lamp. Whisper the lamp of truth into your heart, and the shadows of fear will flee. And as you practice this law daily, you will find a new power rising within. Peace will settle over your mind. Confidence will replace fear. Doors will open where before there were only walls. Your body will respond to the thought of wholeness. Your affairs will reflect the consciousness of abundance. And you will know, not merely in theory, but in living experience, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. So I tell you now, whisper this truth into your heart, gently, faithfully, persistently. God is my source, God is my health, God is my wealth, God is my peace. Say it until the subconscious accepts it. Say it until you feel it. Say it until the harvest appears. For what you whisper in the secret chamber of the soul, the universe will shout upon the housetops of your experience. And when you see the change, give thanks to the infinite within you. Do not boast, do not fear, do not doubt. Simply rejoice, knowing that the law of the subconscious is sure, that the promises of God are true, and that your life is the visible reflection of the invisible word you have sown. My beloved friend, remember always, within you now is the power to heal, the power to prosper, the power to live in joy. The pain is not permanent, the lack is not eternal, the darkness is not final. Whisper the truth into your heart, and you will see the glory of God revealed in your life. My dear friend, let us go deeper, for the law of the subconscious is not only the key to your personal peace, but the key to the treasures of the universe. When you learn to work in harmony with this law, you discover that life is not a cruel struggle, but a magnificent unfolding of divine order. You realize that you are not a beggar pleading at the door of heaven, but an heir to infinite wealth, seated at the banquet of God's abundance. The Master declared, "It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Luke 12:32. This kingdom is not afar off in some distant heaven. It is the kingdom of ideas, of spiritual riches, of divine inspiration within your own subconscious. When you awaken to this fact, you begin to live as a king instead of a pauper, as a creator instead of a captive. Think of it this way. Every invention, every fortune, every masterpiece of art or science existed first as an idea in the unseen. Edison saw the light bulb within before it glowed in glass. Henry Ford saw the car before it rolled upon the road. Walt Disney saw the kingdom of imagination before a single brick was laid. These men trusted the inner vision, the image impressed upon their subconscious, and the law of mind clothed it in form. So it is with you. If you desire wealth, you must first become wealthy in consciousness. If you desire health, you must first feel health within. If you desire love, you must first radiate love from the depths of your heart. The subconscious accepts the inner image, and the outer world mirrors it faithfully. Neville Goddard, that inspired prophet of imagination, affirmed again and again, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and watch the invisible become visible." He knew, as I know, that your inner assumption is the blueprint for your outer life. Florence Scovel Shinn taught the same truth when she said, "The game of life is a game of boomerangs." Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy. Indeed, you are playing with the most powerful force in the world, your own subconscious mind. But many fail, not because the law does not work, but because they misuse it. They plant seeds of worry, fear, resentment, envy, and then they wonder why their harvest is bitter. You cannot plant thorns and reap figs. You cannot sow lack and reap abundance. The subconscious is not mocked. It always gives back what you give it. Therefore, guard the gateway of your mind. Stand as a watchman at the door of thought. Admit only those ideas that are pure, lovely, and of good report. If an unworthy thought knocks, do not entertain it. Replace it instantly with its opposite. If fear whispers, answer with faith. If doubt suggests it cannot be done, affirm, with God all things are possible. If resentment arises, declare, I forgive and I am free. Thus you keep your inner garden fertile for the seeds of prosperity and peace. One businessman, deep in debt, came to me in despair. He had rehearsed poverty so long that his subconscious had become a magnet for lack. I taught him to reverse his thought. Each day he affirmed with conviction, God's wealth is circulating in my life. I am a channel of abundance, and riches flow to me freely and endlessly. He saw himself paying bills joyfully, shaking hands on successful deals, walking as a prosperous man. Within a year, his fortunes turned. New contracts appeared, debts vanished, and he prospered beyond his expectation. The law was fulfilled, for he had planted prosperity in his heart. Another woman, tormented by chronic pain, believed herself doomed. I told her gently, pain is not your identity, it is a shadow of thought. Whisper into your heart each day, the healing light of God flows through every cell of my body. I am strong, whole, and at peace. She repeated this with feeling, often through tears, until one day she realized the pain had loosened its grip. Gradually strength returned, and she lived in radiant health. She had impressed the image of wholeness, and the subconscious obeyed. These are not isolated cases, they are examples of eternal law. Your subconscious is creative, obedient, precise, it cannot fail. It only reflects what you plant. If you're not pleased with the harvest, change the seed. Therefore, begin to live now as though your desire were already fulfilled. Walk as the wealthy man, breathe as the healthy woman, speak as the joyous soul. Feel it real, and the law of mind will mirror it back in form. What things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Mark 11:24. This is not a promise for tomorrow, it is a law for now. And if you say, but it seems too hard, I do not know how to believe, I say, begin where you are. Whisper gently into your heart, day by day, in every way, I am becoming stronger, richer, freer. Even a small beginning, repeated faithfully, grows into mighty conviction. The subconscious magnifies every seed. My beloved friend, remember always that wealth, health, and peace are not distant gifts to be begged for, but currents already flowing within you. The river of life does not stop at your door. It moves ceaselessly, awaiting only your consent. Open the channel by your thought, your feeling, your word, and the river will pour forth invisible supply. Do not envy another's fortune, for to envy is to declare lack. Instead, rejoice in the prosperity of others, and you will magnetize prosperity to yourself. When you bless the wealth of your neighbor, you are blessing wealth itself, and what you bless returns multiplied. Florence Shinn often said, bless your enemy, and you rob him of his ammunition. The law of blessing is the law of increase. What you bless expands. What you curse shrinks away. Therefore, let your words be rivers of blessing. Speak abundance, and abundance multiplies. Speak harmony, and harmony grows. Speak love, and love surrounds you. The subconscious takes every word as a seed and hastens to fulfill it. If you knew the power of your words, you would guard them more than gold. The story is told of a merchant who constantly declared, I never prosper. Business is always slow. His subconscious, being impersonal, obedient, took him at his word. Year after year, his complaint became his condition. When I instructed him to reverse his statement, to affirm instead, I am divinely guided in all my business transactions. God's riches flow freely to me. His life altered within months. The same law that had chained him to poverty released him into prosperity when he planted new words. This is why I tell you, whisper only what you desire. Never say, I cannot afford it. Never say, I am broke. These words are commands to the subconscious, and it obeys with exactness. Instead, even if your pocket is empty, affirm, I am heir to the riches of God. Infinite supply meets every demand. Speak it with faith, and you will see channels of supply open, sometimes in ways you never imagined. Carl Jung perceived the power of symbols and archetypes within the unconscious. He knew that images move men more than logic. Likewise, your subconscious is moved by images, by pictures impressed with feeling. Therefore, build mental pictures of success. See yourself clothed in abundance. See your home radiant with beauty. See your bank account overflowing. See your body strong and youthful. These pictures, persisted in, will clothe themselves in flesh and form. for the law of mind cannot be broken. I recall a man who longed to own a home but felt it impossible. His income was meager, his debts many. I told him, do not argue with appearances, go within. Picture your home vividly. See yourself opening the door, sitting by the fire, walking in the garden. Feel it real. He practiced this each night before sleep. Within a year, through a chain of seeming coincidences, he was led to a home he could afford, a home far better than he had dreamed. The picture he planted became the reality he lived. So I ask you, what picture are you planting in your heart? Is it a picture of pain, lack, and limitation? Then that picture will expand. Or is it a picture of wealth, joy, and peace? Then that picture will multiply. You are the architect of your destiny. The subconscious is your faithful builder. Give it blueprints of truth, and it will build you a palace. Give it shadows of fear, and it will build you a prison. Choose wisely, for the law is exact. As surely as night follows day, as surely as seed brings forth fruit, so will your subconscious bring forth what you impress upon it. And know this, it is never too late to change the picture. Age does not matter. Circumstance does not matter. The moment you plant a new seed, the process of renewal begins. The past may have written lines of sorrow, but the present can erase them with words of truth. The subconscious is always fresh, always fertile, always ready to receive a new impression. Therefore, my beloved friend, whisper into your heart even now, I am a channel of divine abundance. Health, wealth, and joy flow to me now. The past is gone. Today I begin anew. Say it not as a vain repetition, but as a living declaration. Feel it real, for what you whisper in faith today becomes the experience of tomorrow. As you walk in this truth, remember that you are never alone. Infinite intelligence walks with you, speaks through you, acts for you. The God who clothes the lilies and feeds the sparrows will clothe you in beauty and feed you with plenty. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Believe it, feel it, whisper it into your subconscious, and you shall not want. My dear friend, the treasure of life is already yours. The key is belief. The door is your word. The law is the subconscious. Whisper the truth into your heart and watch the miracle unfold. My beloved friend, the time has come to learn the deeper mystery of wealth manifestation. For many pray and plead for abundance, yet their lives remain barren. Why? Because they pray with their lips, but not with their heart. They affirm prosperity while secretly fearing poverty. They declare abundance while inwardly picturing lack. And the subconscious, which responds to feeling, not empty words, reproduces their inner fear rather than their outer speech. You must understand this. The subconscious mind is not moved by logic or argument. It is moved by emotion, by conviction, by the living sense of reality. If you say, I am rich but feel poor, the subconscious accepts the feeling as fact. But if you say, I am rich and feel the thrill of abundance, the subconscious hastens to create conditions that match the vibration of your faith. Therefore, the great secret is to pray as though you have already received, to give thanks before the harvest, to feel the joy of answered prayer before the answer appears. This is the faith that moves mountains. This is the law of assumption that Neville Goddard declared again and again. This is the psychology of success that Napoleon Hill discovered when he said, faith is the only known antidote for failure. When you close your eyes and imagine your desire fulfilled, when you feel the joy of possession, the relief of healing, the thrill of success, you are impressing the subconscious with a new blueprint. And the subconscious, which is infinite intelligence acting in you, will build according to that blueprint as surely as the earth yields harvest to the seed. Take this truth and make it practical. Suppose you are troubled by financial strain. Do not fight the bills. Do not curse the lack. Sit quietly, breathe deeply, and picture in your mind the bills stamped paid in full. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the joy as though it were done. Whisper into your heart, God's wheel flows through me in lavish abundance. I always have more than I need. I am supplied now. Repeat this daily with faith, and soon you will see channels open, opportunities arise, supply flow. For the subconscious is compelled to manifest the picture impressed upon it with feeling. Or suppose your body aches with pain. Instead of rehearsing the illness, picture yourself walking in health, free, radiant. Whisper into your heart, the life of God flows through me now, cleansing and renewing every atom. Feel the vitality, sense the energy, see yourself strong, vigorous, alive. As you persist in this mental picture, the subconscious begins to instruct the cells, the organs, the tissues, until health blossoms like spring after winter. This is not fantasy, it is law. Countless men and women have risen from sickness to health, from poverty to wealth, from despair to joy by applying this principle. What you feel is true, the subconscious accepts as true, and the outer world rearranges itself accordingly. Consider the words of Job. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways. Job 22:28. A decree is not a desperate plea. It is a calm, confident statement of truth. When you decree wealth, decree healing, decree success, you are planting the seed in the soil of the subconscious, and the light of infinite intelligence establishes it in your experience. Florence Shinn told of a woman who longed for prosperity but constantly feared bills. I have seen the same again and again. Fear attracts what is feared. The woman who says, "I hope I don't lose my job," plants loss in her subconscious. The man who says, "I can't keep up with expenses," impresses struggle. But the one who whispers, "I am divinely supplied, infinite substance meets all my needs," plants abundance. And abundance must appear, for the subconscious is the servant of faith. The key is persistence. You cannot whisper a truth once and then abandon it when appearances contradict. Appearances are but shadows of old beliefs. They will fade as the new belief takes root. If you plant a seed today, you do not curse the soil tomorrow because you see no fruit. You wait, you water, you trust the law. In the same way, when you impress your subconscious with wealth, health, and joy, hold fast until the harvest appears. Carl Jung observed that the unconscious often dramatizes itself in dreams, revealing the inner script by which a person lives. But I tell you, you can rewrite that script in waking life. By daily affirmations, by vivid imagery, by the feeling of answered prayer, you are rewriting the hidden drama of your subconscious. And as the inner script changes, the outer play must also change. Therefore, I urge you, begin to live in the end of your desire. Walk, speak, and think as though you already possess it. If you long for wealth, pay your bills in imagination with joy. If you long for healing, walk in imagination with vigor. If you long for love, feel in imagination the warmth of companionship. Do this not once, but daily, faithfully, persistently. For the subconscious is not persuaded by fleeting impressions, but by steady repetition charged with feeling. And when doubts arise, as they surely will, do not wrestle with them. Do not argue. Simply replace them. If fear whispers, "It is impossible," answer gently, "All things are possible with God." If doubt says, "It will never come," reply, "In God's time it is already done." If worry asks, "What if I fail?" affirm, "I cannot fail, for the infinite within me never fails." Thus you train your subconscious to respond to truth instead of fear. My beloved friend, know this: the infinite mind does not withhold. It does not ration blessings as though there were a shortage in heaven. The limitation is never in God, but always in man's belief. The river of abundance flows without ceasing, but if your cup is small, you drink little. If your belief is narrow, you receive meagerly. But if you enlarge your vision, if you widen your expectation, the river will fill to the brim and overflow. Therefore expand your consciousness now. Whisper into your heart, "I expect lavish abundance. I expect perfect health. I expect love, peace, and success. I enlarge my capacity to receive." The subconscious hears this declaration, and infinite supply adjusts itself to the measure of your faith. I knew a man who always said, "Something always goes wrong for me," and indeed something always did. His words were the decree of his subconscious, and life obeyed. But when he learned the law and began to affirm, "Everything I do prospers. Divine right action governs all my affairs," the tide turned. Accidents ceased, delays dissolved, and order replaced confusion. His life reflected his new inner pattern. This is why the Bible declares, "Let the weak say, I am strong," at Joel 3:10. Why? Because in saying it, in affirming it, in impressing it upon the subconscious, the weak become strong, not by denying weakness, but by affirming the higher truth that dissolves weakness. Do not say, "I am sick," for you are not sickness, you are life. Do not say, "I am poor," for you are not poverty, you are wealth in expression. Do not say, "I am broken," for you are not brokenness, you are the wholeness of God made visible. Whisper the truth until it becomes your new identity, and the outer world will mirror it back to you. Neville Goddard told his students, "You are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it." Profound words. For the subconscious does not create from nothing. It reveals what you already are in spirit. You are already wealthy in God, already healthy in God, already whole in God. Your task is not to create, but to accept, to feel as though it were so, and the subconscious will clothe it in form. Napoleon Hill echoed this when he said, "There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge." The Saussaires. Subconscious knows no limit. It only reflects the boundaries we set. Break the boundaries, and you break the chains. Whisper into your heart, "There are no limits to the riches of God. There are no limits to the power of my subconscious. There are no limits to the blessings that can unfold in my life." Say it until the walls of limitation crumble. Carl Jung observed that man's unconscious often projects itself onto the world, creating what seems like fate. But I tell you, when you consciously impress truth upon your subconscious, you seize the pen of destiny. Fate becomes freedom. The unconscious becomes conscious creation. And what is the greatest truth you can impress? That you and God are one. That infinite supply is not separate from you, but flows through you as your very life. When you whisper into your heart, "God is my source," you are aligning with eternal law. You are declaring that your wealth is not dependent on men, markets, or circumstances, but on the boundless riches of spirit, and spirit never fails. So walk now as one who has found the key. Do not beg, do not plead, do not strive, simply know. Whisper into your heart day and night the truths of wealth, health, and peace. Feel them as real. Thank God in advance, and watch as life, obedient to your inner word, reshapes itself in harmony with your faith. For remember this, what you whisper in secret, the world will one day shout in the open. What you plant in silence will blossom in sight. What you decree in the quiet of your heart will resound as victory in the marketplace of life. And if this truth has stirred you, if you feel within your soul the awakening of divine power, I invite you now. Pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and whisper into your heart, "I am the child of the infinite. All that the Father hath is mine. I am free, I am rich, I am whole." Yes, my beloved, whisper it, believe it. Live it, and watch the pain disappear, the chains break, and the wealth of heaven flood your life. And before we move further, I ask you, if these truths are blessing you, if they are lifting your spirit and opening your heart, then subscribe to this channel and press the like button that others too may hear the word of truth and awaken to their inheritance. For as you give, so shall you receive. My beloved friend, we have seen how the subconscious obeys the whisper of faith. Now let us consider another divine law, the law of non-resistance. For just as a river flows freely when unblocked, so the wealth of heaven flows through you when you release the grip of fear, anger, and struggle. Many imagine that they must fight, strain, and wrestle for success. They believe that life is a battlefield, and that only through ceaseless conflict can they win. But I tell you, this is illusion, for what you resist, you attract. What you fight, you feed. If you wrestle with shadows, the shadows only grow stronger. But when you release resistance and affirm divine order, the shadows dissolve as mist before the morning sun. Jesus said, "Resist not evil," Matthew 5:39. This was not a call to weakness, but to wisdom. He knew that resistance binds you to the very thing you oppose. If you hate poverty, you give it life. If you curse sickness, you give it strength. If you fear failure, you magnetize it. But when you turn from the shadow and affirm the light, the shadow disappears of itself. Think of a boat moving upstream, straining against the current, exhausting its energy. Then think of the boat turning, moving with the current, carried swiftly and effortlessly forward. So it is with you. When you struggle against life, you weary yourself in vain. But when you align with divine law, when you cease to resist and begin to affirm, life carries you swiftly toward health, wealth, and peace. Neville Goddard spoke of the effortless assumption, the act of quietly accepting that your wish is already fulfilled. Florence Scovel Shinn declared that your word opens the way when spoken without doubt or struggle. Napoleon Hill affirmed that success comes to those who surrender to faith and definite purpose rather than to those who fight in fear. And Jung perceived that the unconscious reveals its gifts not by compulsion but by acceptance. All these voices testify to the same law, non-resistance. A woman once told me, I pray for wealth, but I feel blocked, as if something holds it back. I said to her, you are holding it back by your resistance. You fear poverty, and so you chain yourself to it. Release your fear. Whisper into your heart, I now let go of all resistance. God's wealth flows freely to me now. She practiced this, and within months, unexpected channels of income appeared, debts were cleared, and her life moved with a new ease. Likewise, a man tormented by illness declared, I hate this disease, I fight it every day. I told him gently, do not fight it, for what you fight you strengthen. Instead, love health, affirm life, whisper, God's life flows through me in waves of harmony. I am whole now, turn from the shadow to the light. He followed this counsel, and in time the sickness withered, replaced by health. This is the essence of non-resistance, to stop feeding the negative with fear and to feed the positive with faith, to cease struggling against what you do not want and to affirm what you do want. In doing so, you align with infinite flow, and all things begin to move in your favor. Do not confuse non-resistance with passivity. It is not idleness, but spiritual mastery. It is not weakness, but wisdom. The man who refuses to resist evil does not surrender to it. He rises above it. He knows that evil is but shadow, and that light alone is real. By turning his attention to truth, he allows truth to dissolve the illusion. Therefore, my friend, release your grip. Stop fighting shadows. Whisper into your heart, I let go and let God. Divine order governs my life. Peace, abundance, and joy flow through me now. Say it until you feel it. Say it until the burden lifts. For when you let go, the law of non-resistance carries you swiftly into your inheritance. My beloved friend, imagine now a great river, wide and endless, flowing from the throne of God. This river is life itself. It carries health, wealth, peace, and joy. When you resist, when you struggle, when you hold to fear, it is as if you build a dam across the river. The flow is hindered and you feel lack. But when you release resistance, when you forgive, when you trust, the dam breaks and the river floods your life with blessing. So many live in bondage not because God withholds, but because they cling to resentment, bitterness, and unforgiveness. These are the stones that block the flow. A man may affirm wealth by day, but if he nurses resentment by night, his subconscious receives a mixed command. He says, I prosper, but his bitterness declares, I lack. And the law, precise and exact, reproduces confusion. This is why forgiveness is the master key. To forgive is not to excuse another's wrong, but to release your own soul from bondage. When you forgive, you dissolve the stone of bitterness and open the channel of abundance. Whisper into your heart, I freely forgive, I loose and let go. Nothing stands between me and God's riches now. As you say this with sincerity, you will feel the burden lift, and the flow of wealth and health will increase. I recall a woman who struggled financially for years. She affirmed abundance faithfully, yet nothing changed. In prayer, she saw a vision of her estranged sister, whom she had not spoken to in decades. The resentment was still alive in her subconscious, blocking her good. I instructed her to release it. Each night she affirmed, I forgive my sister. I bless her with peace and prosperity. Though at first her heart resisted, in time, she felt the release. Within months, new opportunities opened and her finances improved remarkably. Forgiveness had removed the stone from the river. Do not underestimate the power of release. To let go of resentment is to free your subconscious for miracles. To cease resisting evil is to turn wholly to good. To bless what once you cursed is to invite heaven into your life. Remember the words of Paul, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good. Romans 12:21. This is the essence of non-resistance. You do not fight the shadow, you shine the light. You do not curse the darkness, you light the lamp, and the darkness, having no substance of its own, flees. Carl Jung noted that what we resist not only persists but grows stronger. Psychology confirms what Scripture declared ages ago. Resistance binds you to what you resist. But release, forgiveness, and affirmation of good break the chain. Therefore, if poverty troubles you, bless wealth wherever you see it. If sickness afflicts you, give thanks for health wherever it appears. If loneliness haunts you, rejoice in the love you witness in others. In blessing, you are aligning with the reality you seek, and your subconscious, hearing the language of blessing, hastens to reproduce it in your own life. Florence Shinn told her students often, "Do not fight your battles. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." She knew that non-resistance opens the way for divine action. Neville taught his followers to persist in the assumption of the wish fulfilled without struggle, without strain. Napoleon Hill urged men to hold a definite purpose with faith, not with fear. All these voices unite in one law: release resistance, affirm good, and the power of God will act. So I tell you now, let go. Release the burden. Whisper into your heart, "I let go and I am free. I forgive and I am blessed. I surrender account. I'll struggle and I flow with divine life." Say it until the struggle melts away. Say it until peace flows in like a river. Say it until you feel the effortless current of spirit carrying you to your destiny. For the truth is this: life is not meant to be a fight but a flow, not a battlefield but a banquet, not a struggle but a song. And when you cease resisting and begin affirming, you will discover that the whole universe is conspiring for your good. My beloved friend, we have walked together through the laws of mind, the power of belief, the practice of visualization, the art of wealth manifestation, the beauty of healing, and the grace of non-resistance. Now we come to the final jewel, the law of divine timing. For everything in your life has its appointed season. The seed blossoms not in haste, but in order. The sun rises not a moment early nor late, but precisely when it must. And so, too, your good appears not in panic, not in delay, but in perfect rhythm with the infinite. Impatience is the enemy of manifestation. When you say, "Why has it not come? Where is my blessing? Why must I wait?" you are digging up the seed. You are telling your subconscious, "I doubt the harvest." And doubt delays, but when you rest in faith, when you say, "It is already mine in God," it appears at the right time in the right way, and then the harvest comes swiftly, silently, inevitably. The psalmist declared, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. This stillness is not passivity, it is confidence. It is the calm assurance that infinite intelligence is arranging every detail, aligning every circumstance, moving every obstacle, preparing the perfect path for your desire to appear. When you rest in divine timing, you cease to fret, and the subconscious works unhindered. I once knew a man who longed for a position of honor in his company. He affirmed daily, visualized clearly, believed deeply, yet months passed with no promotion. He grew restless, doubted the law, and thought perhaps he would. As forgotten, I told him, "Hold fast, your subconscious is working. Infinite intelligence has already prepared the way. Trust the timing." He returned to faith, affirming calmly, "I am divinely guided. The right position is mine now." In time, the manager above him resigned unexpectedly, and he was offered the very role he had desired, with greater benefits than he had imagined. The delay was not denial, but preparation. So it is with you. When the vision tarries, do not despair. It is ripening. When the desire seems distant, do not doubt. It is gathering strength. Whisper into your heart, "God's timing is perfect. My blessing appears in the right way, at the right time, with divine ease." This affirmation releases resistance and places you in harmony with the flow of spirit. Neville Goddard often said, "The vision has its own appointed hour. If it seems slow, wait, for it is sure and it will not be late." Florence Shinn told her students, "Never run after a blessing. Stand still and it will come to you." Napoleon Hill urged men to persist until faith ripened into fact, and Jung observed that the unconscious works in rhythms and cycles like nature itself. All these insights point to the same truth: divine timing. Do not compare your life to another's. Each soul has its unique path, its unique season. A rose does not bloom in winter, nor a snowflake fall in summer, yet each arrives in perfection. Rejoice in your season. Say, "In God's time my good appears." For the subconscious, once impressed, never fails to deliver, but it delivers according to the higher wisdom of infinite intelligence, not the impatience of human will. Therefore cultivate patience as a holy virtue. Patience is not waiting in misery, but waiting in faith. It is the serene knowing that the promise is sure, the harvest is certain, the law is unfailing. Whisper into your heart each day, "I rest in divine timing. I trust the law. I rejoice in advance." And as you do, you will find peace now, even before the outer result arrives. And then when your blessing appears, and it surely will, you will see that it came at the perfect hour, through the perfect channel, in the perfect form. You will realize that the delay was grace, the waiting was wisdom, and the timing was divine. My beloved friend, listen with your heart, for these are my final words to you in this sacred journey. You need not beg the universe, you need not struggle with fate. You need not carry pain as though it were your inheritance. You are the heir of infinite supply, the child of divine mind, the expression of God's own life. Within you now is the treasure of heaven. Within you now is the power that heals, the wisdom that guides, the wealth that multiplies, the love that never fails. The world may speak of lack, but you whisper abundance into your heart, and abundance will answer. The world may cry of sickness, but you whisper health into your heart, and health will bloom. The world may shout of fear, but you whisper peace into your heart, and peace will flood your soul. For the truth is eternal. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. 1 John chapter 4:4. Do not measure your future by your past. Do not chain yourself to yesterday's mistakes. The subconscious is always ready, always fertile, always obedient to a new impression. This very night you can begin anew. Whisper into your heart, I am free, I am healed, I am rich, I am at peace. Say it with faith, and the subconscious will record it as truth, and your life will reflect it as fact. Think of the farmer who plants in spring, trusts through summer, and reaps in autumn. He does not cry out in despair when the field looks barren. He knows the seed is working invisibly. So too must you trust. Your seed of faith is working now beneath the surface of appearances. It will rise, it will blossom, it will overflow. For the law of mind cannot fail, and the promises of God are sure. Florence Shinn urged her students to act as though they had already received. Neville Goddard commanded them to feel the wish fulfilled. Napoleon Hill demanded persistence until success was certain. Carl Jung saw that man's destiny is written in his unconscious, and I tell you, you hold the pen. Tonight you may write abundance. Tonight you may write healing. Tonight you may write peace. The script is yours. The stage is ready. The law is waiting. So rise, my beloved. No longer whisper defeat, but whisper victory. No longer whisper fear, but whisper faith. No longer whisper lack, but whisper wealth. For what you whisper in your heart tonight shall shout in your life tomorrow. And now, before we part, I ask you with all the love of my soul, if these truths have touched you, if they have lifted your spirit, if they have awakened within you the remembrance of your divine inheritance, then do not keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this channel, press the like button, and share this message of truth that countless others may awaken and be free. For as you give, so shall you receive, and as you share, so shall your blessings multiply. My beloved friend, I leave you with this eternal truth. You are not a beggar in a cold universe. You are a child of the infinite, heir to all that God is and has. Whisper this into your heart until it becomes the song of your soul. I and my Father are one. All that the Father hath is mine. I live in abundance, health, peace, and joy. And as you whisper it, watch the pain disappear, the shadows flee, the chains fall, and the light of heaven break forth in your life. For truly it is done unto you as you believe.